Heavenly Father, Lord, thank you for this opportunity to come here tonight. Lord, bless each and every one that's here. Be with us now as we carry on the school business. We ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen. Thank you. Next, we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance.
It's not staying on. Thank you, ladies. Moving right along now, we'll have the approval of the March 11th, 2019 agenda. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved in second. Call for the vote. And again, mine's not showing up.
Nobody did.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. All right, moving right along, we have the, now it comes up, it's a little late. We have the Pathways 2022, Goal 1.1, Profile of a Graduate, Ms. McMullen, Ms. Hughes, Ms. Horton, and Dr. Monroe.
Good evening, Chairman Spalding, Vice Chair Dr. Rollins Fells, members of the board, Dr. Calvary, and guests. Tonight's Pathway 2022 Spotlight represents Goal 1, Teaching and Learning of our strategic plan, and specifically Objective 1.1, Profile of a Graduate. At this time, it is a plum-pleasing pleasure to introduce Mallory McMullen, Counselor, Director at Caroline High School, Mrs. Kristen Hughes, Counselor, Caroline Middle School, and Mrs. Melissa Horton, Counselor, Lewis and Clark Elementary School. This evening, these amazing young ladies will share the Caroline County Public School K-12 academic and career plans and their impact in ensuring all Caroline County Public School students are college and career ready. I turn it over to Mrs. Horton, who will share the elementary plan. As we know, early intervention and planning makes all the difference in ensuring our students leave us employed, enlisted, enrolled, or all of the above.
Good evening. I'm Melissa Horton, and I'm going to give you a glimpse of the college and career pathway for the elementary level. The slide that I presented before you is a representation of the K-5 pathway. We start as early as kindergarten, providing opportunities for our students to hear about careers and colleges through things like Career Day and fun activities like College Sweatshirt Day. Then we build on from there, adding in workplace skills such as cooperation, teamwork, goal setting, and decision making. Then as a 5th grade student, you'll get to learn about the 16 career clusters and take a career cluster inventory. To provide opportunities for exploration, students use Virginia Career View. This website allows students a chance to play around in careers, pretend to be a veterinarian, a pilot, an archaeologist, lots of other careers are available. They take an interest inventory where they connect their interests to possible careers. They will give a description of that career along with other information such as workplace skills needed, the level of education, and also Virginia colleges that have that major. And this is our career day. This year, our career day was held on November the 16th. We had 38 different careers presented, which covered all 16 career clusters. We really look forward to this day, and the kids will love it. Thank you. Kirsten?
Good evening. My name is Kirsten Hughes, and I would like to briefly share the benefits of Major Clarity, which is the software that we are using to promote our academic and career plans at Caroline Middle School. This slide is a representation of Major Clarity's pathway for our academic and career plans. Major Clarity allows our middle school students to quickly and easily try out the 16 career clusters, activities, and video content. We love how Major Clarity exposes our students to career paths that they may be unaware of. It also shows them how to gain entry into those careers. Our students are aligned with customized academic plans of study, which are based on their individual career interests. For example, 6th graders participate in work-based lessons after generating an interest inventory. 7th graders create an academic and career plan, and 8th graders learn about high school planning and career and college exploration. Even though the lessons are delivered through our core curriculum, the software gives our students the flexibility to work on it at home. Here is a short video clip of our students sharing how Major Clarity is helping them choose the right major and career path.
Major Clarity allows us as students to test drive any career that we are interested in exploring. We have an opportunity to not only listen to people who are currently working in the profession via the Q&A video clips, but also go through a simulation process. For example, I selected economics, and in doing so, I had to find a solution to a simulated problem. Like, I had to decide whether I was going to borrow funds now or later for an improvement project. I really love that part.
I love the assessment used in Major Clarity as a middle school student because it creates a fit score. The fit score or filters customizes my career pathways because it is generated by my likes and dislikes, allowing me to seamlessly explore the many options that they recommend for careers that I have never thought about before and I would option consider.
Thank you. Thank you. Mallory.
Hello. At the high school level, we have taken to using academic and career planning to help guide our students' course selections and to help aid with their post-secondary plans. So we began by meeting with all of our seniors in August to ensure that they were on path to determining their choice of the 3 E's: enrollment, enlistment, and employment. For our 9th through 11th graders, we utilized Major Clarity. So we began on October 31st by meeting in a large group setting to walk through Major Clarity. Then students completed an interest inventory that helped guide them through the different career options available to them. From there, students completed their official academic and career plan. Then counselors met individually with students to help review their academic and career plans and schedule courses for the following school year based on their areas of interest. So I'd like for one of my juniors, Gabby Thibodeau, to share more about why she enjoyed working through Major Clarity.
My name is Gabby Thibodeau. I'm in 11th grade, and I'm interested in becoming a mental health therapist after high school. I really like Major Clarity, and I wanted to show you a little bit more about it. When we take a quiz, it shows you the different type of fields that would work best for you, and psychology is 100%, which is great for me. Here it shows you a little bit more about psychology and the type of salaries. You could even watch an interview with a professor and learn a little bit more through that. And you could also take an activity which could teach you more about psychology as well. And when you scroll down, it shows you the different types of degrees you might need for your field or your career. And I want to go past my bachelor's, so when I click level 5, which is advanced degrees, mental health counselors is under there. So when I click that, it shows more information about the mental health counselors and more of what I should be looking for in the career. And career plan shows you what your goals could be. And I really like how Major Clarity is logged into your academic and career plan and is shared with your counselors. So when you sit down and have a conversation, they can help you afterwards.
The school counseling department thanks you for your attention tonight.
My name is Gabby Tito.
Do you all have any questions for us? Thank you.
And can we give our counselors a big round of applause for all they do for our students? Thank you, ladies. Great job tonight.
Thank you, ladies. Next, we have the awards, recognition, commendations. First one is recognition of the World Language Week. Dr. Jones.
Good evening, Chair Spalding, Vice Chair Dr. Rollins-Fales, board members, and Dr. Calvary. World language instruction is an integral part of Virginia's efforts to provide challenging educational programs in its public schools and to prepare students to compete in global society. Knowledge and skills that students acquire in foreign language classes reinforce and expand learning in other subject areas. School divisions are encouraged to offer foreign language instruction beginning in the elementary grades at the middle and secondary levels. The World Language Standards of Learning and Curriculum Framework for American Sign Language set reasonable targets and expectations for what students should know and be able to do by the end of each course offered for a standard unit of credit. Schools are encouraged to provide instruction that extends beyond standards in order to meet the needs of all students. In Caroline, we have a variety of activities taking place at both the middle and secondary levels, and they are taking pictures and promoting exercises in and outside of the classroom during this week, and we will share those on the website when they have completed this recognition. If there are any students who are taking foreign language courses or any teachers who teach foreign or world languages, could you please stand up at this time? Thank you.
Ms. Jones, I think you're still up. Recognition of Central Region Destination Imagination winners.
Yes, it gives me great pleasure to recognize the Destination Imagination winners from Caroline Middle School. Destination Imagination students competed on February the 16th at Caroline Middle School. Students competed in the Regional Destination Imagination Competition. Okay. Stand up. The improv team placed second in the Heads Up Challenge. During the competition, they were randomly assigned 2 previously researched figureheads, flipped the script from tragedy to comedy, from verbal to nonverbal acting. At this time, we will recognize the Destination Imagination Improv team. Miss Emily Hart. Mr. Baron Hyde. Trey Hope. Cassidy Kiger. Ann Dugan. And May Davis McManus. Okay. placed first in the On Target Challenge. They flew an aircraft to make payload drops in target areas while acting out a creative story. All students have shown great teamwork and developed problem-solving skills throughout the year. Both teams have qualified for the state competition, which will be held on April 6, 2019 at Atlee High School. At this time, we would like to recognize the technology team members. Adam Swanton, Joshua Alvarez, Amonte Richardson, Joshua Robinson, Abby Lepp, and Jackson Thomas. Our sponsors for Destination Imagination are Ms. Nikki Kiger, Ms. Lisa Hart, and Ms. Tracy Robinson. At this time, I'd like to honor them and give them a few words at the mic.
All right. I'd like to thank you for recognizing our students. We are really excited this year that our Destination Imagination team has grown. Last year we had one team and we have two teams this year. They have worked really, really hard, most of them being brand new to DI. And it's such a great experience for the students to develop all of the 5 C's that we're talking about, and it really supports the profile of a graduate. We are working very hard to get ready for states because we're allowed to make improvements and changes as we prepare for that. So that will be coming up during spring break. So think about us while you're enjoying your spring break because we're going to be working hard. So thank you for your support, and thanks so much to our parent volunteers, Ms. Hart and Ms. Robinson, who help with DI. Thanks a lot.
Yes, parents, please come up and get in the picture.
Congratulations, students, parents, and teachers. Moving right along, we have the recognition of the ABCD third quarter. Dr. Monroe.
Chairman Spalding, Vice Chair Dr. Rollins-Fells, members of the board, Dr. Calveri, and honored guest. The ABCD Award recognizes any employee who goes above and beyond the call of duty in performing his or her job responsibilities. Any employee may nominate a fellow CCPS colleague for the ABCD Award. Once nominated, nominees are evaluated on one or more of the following criteria. 1, made significant contributions that improve job efficiency, improve the quality of services, improve safety, or conserved resources. 2, performed a humanitarian or heroic act, and/or 3, responded proactively by anticipating needs and solving problems without specific direction. Tonight, we will recognize those employees that have gone above and beyond the call of duty. Our first recipient is Mr. Kyle Cooper, physical education teacher, Lewis and Clark Elementary School. Kyle is a first-year PE teacher at Lewis and Clark Elementary School, but he teaches well beyond his years. He has jumped right in and tackled tasks such as bus duty, safety patrol coordinator, check-in, check-out coach for at-promise students, and much, much more. He has become a mentor to our deaf students and learned how to communicate with all of them. Kyle touches base with our students every morning and encourages and celebrates their positive behavior. Kyle really stepped up when his co-teacher was out on maternity leave, and he kept the ball rolling. He assumed the lead with running club in her absence without even being asked. He will lead our basketball club for students in the spring. What makes him truly special is how he supports our students at after-school and weekend events. Kyle's kindness, love, and guidance come shining through for all of our students and staff. Can we give Kyle one more round of applause? And Kyle, we'd like the principal to come up and join you as well. Mrs. Brown here this evening? Yeah, come on up, Ms. Brown. Please remain at the stage. Our next recipient is Mrs. Marsha Stevens, Director of Finance, School Board Office. Yeah. Marsha has in-depth knowledge and has worked relentlessly with Dr. Calveric in building the FY20 operational budget. She has demonstrated her goals for our division with clear, concise decisions. She promotes sound financial principles, demonstrates physical transparency, and collaborates with the local government using all 5 of her C's. Marsha wears 3 primary hats. First, as a finance expert. Second, as an active member of the school board office leadership team. And third, as a leader of the financial functions of the school division. The key point is that she has come in, cleaned up, and holds us all to sound operating procedures that will set us up for a successful financial future. She is firm, fair, consistent, and honest. Her knowledge and expertise helps us all to be good stewards of our departmental accounts and those we support. Marsha views school finance as the Super Bowl to ensure quality instruction and student achievement happens. And no one is allowed to sit on the sideline and be a spectator. Marsha has been a blessing to Caroline County Public Schools, and her ability to always go above and beyond benefits all citizens in the Caroline community. Congratulations. And last but not least, Mrs. Melissa White, Transition Coordinator, Caroline High School. Melissa contributes to the students and staff of Caroline High School in a variety of ways. Beginning with the students, she strives to provide high-quality services to IEP students who are transitioning to the real world, doing so in several ways. She assists case managers with the transition component of the IEP, providing insights that are often unique for each student. She assists with the work training program that provides experiences for students at job sites both on and off campus. And she garnered a partnership with AP Hill to provide additional work experiences for our students. Furthermore, she assists the student body in other ways, such as picking up food from the food pantry, to provide snacks for after-school tutoring, and acquiring school supplies for Caroline High School and its students. Regarding staff, Melissa helps with staff morale by planning Teacher Appreciation Week and providing small donated gifts to staff throughout the year. All students love her, and all staff appreciates her gift of time for always going above and beyond. Can we give all of our recipients a big round of applause? Mr. Witt, can you come up and join Mrs. White? And folks, can we remain at the front of the stage for a picture? And I would also, are we here? And we would also like to thank Mr. Donovan Miller from Grand Canyon University, as they are partners with us and they provide a monetary gift for all of our ABCD recipients. We thank you too, Mr. Miller. Thank you and congratulations.
Next, we have recognition of some of our athletes who have gone above and
Thank you, Chairman Spalding, Vice Chair Dr. Rollins-Fells, and members of the board. Tonight, we are honored to recognize our state qualifying wrestlers and our championship boys varsity basketball team. First, the Carolina High School wrestling team finished the season with a 10-10 record. They were 6th in the region and 20th in the state. We had 5 students make it to the state competition. They are coached by Mr. Steve Swanton and Mr. George Honeycutt, and we would like our coaches to join us at the front of the stage when the athletes' names are called. Our state competitors were Elizabeth DeSato, who went 1 and 2 at the state championships. Trenton Furrow went 1 and 2 at the state championships. Pedro Melendez went 0 and 2 at the state championship competition. Isaiah Blunt, who went 1 and 2. And this year, Carolina High School has a state runner-up at 145-pound weight class. Mr. James DeSoto went 3 and 1, and now will be recognized as being all-state. Can we give these grapplers a big round of applause? Congratulations. Excellent. And remember, for wrestling, it's not what you do during the season, it's what you do outside of the season that will give you the toughness and the mental edge. Congratulations.
Congratulations, wrestling team. I kept up with you in the newspaper on who was what weight class and all. You did a great job. Thank you.
At this time, we would like to recognize our Carolina High School boys varsity basketball team, who is a 2-time repeat champion for the Battlefield District. They earned this victory by defeating James Monroe 64-58 on Valentine's Day, so they gave them a nice Valentine's present. And their first regional game was played on February 21st against Cortland High School. The team fought hard that night, but came up short against Cortland. But let's give them a round of applause for another outstanding season. The team is coached by Mr. Antoine Johnson and Mr. Corey Mickelberry. And we would like the coaches to come forward this evening. And the team players are Makai Smith, Jalen Taylor, Kristen Walker, Cameron Haskins, Kaylin Taylor, Anthony Dowdy, Kobe Metz, Xavier Campbell, Terrell Poole, Ryan Galladay, Chris Young, Trevin Terrell, Jay Childs, and Hawken Mills. So do we have any basketball players here tonight? They're at home studying. We know that's where they are right now. But again, we would like to thank them for another outstanding season. We would like to thank their coaches for their gift of time. And can we give them all one more round of applause? Thank you.
I would just like to say that although he's not here tonight, Makai Smith has been awarded Outstanding Representative to the All-District Team, and it's the first annual Central Virginia All-Star Showcase, and so I think he deserves a round of applause.
Congratulations to our varsity basketball team. One thing, our JVs played for the district championship, but got beat. But anyway, they were there, so let's not forget that. All right, moving right along, recognition of CHS students. Rebecca Button, Miss Elam.
I'm not doing this alone, Becky, come on. Good evening, Chairperson Spalding, Vice Chair Dr. Rollins-Fells, members of the board, and Dr. Calvary. Standing beside me, I have a true honor and a blessing to recognize this student. Becky Button, she's truly a story Her stories from a small town girl, making it big through hard work and dedication. She spent this past weekend in Charlotte, North Carolina, where she was one of 40 students out of 4,300 candidates to receive the Award for Aspirations in Computing from the National Center for Women in Information Technology. I've known her for a good while, and as I'm reading and learning about her bio that she has that was posted, I was not surprised at all with how she has combined her passion for technology with helping others. She found a Global Maker initiative to share do-it-yourself instructions for assistive devices. She has shared her initiative with many, and she's not going to stop with just these many. She's going to go global. Right. Okay. Back home in our community of Caroline County, she works with other young ladies at the high school and the middle school to give them an opportunity to immerse themselves in technology. I think my favorite part, though, is that she goes to governor's school. She's a full-time student. She teaches these classes, but she also works at the animal hospital. And I've just touched the surface of the amazing talents of this kid. She's got to be probably the smartest person I've ever met and probably will ever meet. She's a humble young lady with an incredible mind, a contagious sense of humor. She's the type of person you can have a discussion about, any kind of a topic and still laugh and just have a good time. And I thank you, Becky, for all you've done, basically for Caroline County, for yourself, for the kids that you're helping, the animals that you're helping, and just to make this place in this world just a more wonderful place. And thank you. I would like to open up the time to let Becky share anything, especially from this weekend, that she would like to share.
Hi, everybody. I'd just like to say thank you so much from Caroline County Public Schools for kind of enabling me my whole entire high school career to just pursue as many activities as I could. I've been able to go speak all across the country, and it's all because of what the county's let me do. I hope that this award is kind of a moment in this county, and this isn't just the end of technology and the proliferation of technology education as we know it. I'm hoping that in the future we are creating a computer science pipeline in this county. Right now we are teaching the first ever computer science class at the middle school in partnership with Caroline's Promise. So that's awesome. And the first 15 girls ever to learn computer science here, So I don't really have much else to say, but thank you so much for recognizing me here.
Next, we have the recognition of the State Beta Convention participants. Dr. Allen.
Good evening, Chair Spalding, Vice Chair Dr. Rollins Fells, members of the school board, and Dr. Calverick. The mission of the National Beta Club is to promote the ideals of academic achievement, character, service, and leadership among our students in elementary and secondary. Tonight, we'd like to recognize and commend those students who represented Caroline County Public Schools and embodied these ideals as they competed at the Beta Leadership Summit and/or the annual State Beta Convention and are now eligible to take part in the National Beta Convention in Oklahoma City this summer. Before I begin calling names, I do want to quickly recognize that at the state conference, Caroline County also had a state officer, Madison Bowling, state secretary, and a state officer candidate, Jordan Rollins Williams, who ran for vice president. And we're very proud of them. I don't know if they're here, but we know. like to publicly thank our Beta School sponsors at each school for their time and talents that they've devoted to support our students. And so as I call each school's participants, I'd like for them to come up as well to assist me in recognizing them. So we'll start with Bowling Green Elementary School, and I invite Tamara Fagans and Courtney Lander up to the stage. And I am going to call all students' names so that we can recognize them. So students, if your name is called, we ask you to come on down. Starting with apparel design, second place, we have Alex Thomas, who is the club representative. In the book battle, we have second place, Alian Smith, Reagan Parkinson, and Mackenzie Kennedy. Living literature, third place, we have Allison Parkinson, Jamie Haynes, Elijah Parker, Daniel Busick, James Scott, and Amarje Child. Marketing and Communications, first place. We have Daich Carmine, Elijah Parker, and Elijah Rome. Robotics, second place. We have Elijah Rom, Daich Carmine, Sean Morris, and Kobe Southworth. Service Learning Showcase, first place, the club representative, Mackenzie Kennedy. And woodworking, second place, again, we have Elijah Long. For Madison Elementary School, we invite their sponsors up, Shauna Gallagher and Tracy Robinson. For jewelry, second place, we have Zoe Kitchen. Marketing and design, second place, we have Kamira Washington, Alea Tompkins, and Zoe Kitchen. Quiz Bowl, second place, we have Riley Funk, Allison Hoover, Adrian Salas, and Braden Perry. For robotics, first place, we have Jediah Hogan, Daniel Brown, Nathan Vontomazuski, and Nathan, I'm sorry if I mispronounced that, Lee Hardy, and Kyler Hall. Now I invite our Caroline Middle School sponsor, Sharon Rackenow, to come forward. All right, we are going to pass these out for Ms. Rackenow. Starting with creative writing, second place, Emily Hart. Digital art, third place, and rapid response, Audrey Edwards. Poetry, second place, and rapid response, Leanna Hayes. Rapid response, Ethan Bassoon. Kayla Oates. And science, third place, Rochella Epperson. I'm going to call these out just in case they came in. Rapid response, Allison Thompson. Rapid response, Alora Rome. Rapid response, Baron High. Okay. And rapid response, Dakota Parker. And finally, our high school. If our sponsors, Patty Klein and Kim Kelly, are present. Starting with Creative Writing Division II, third place, Jasmine Smith. Language Arts, second place, Ainsley Newcomb. On-Site Planning Division II, second place, Isabella Marshall. On-Site Color Pencil Drawing, third place, Yami Eve. And Social Studies, third place, Lucas Graham. Rapid response team at the high school level. Here we go. Roberts Carter, Anthony Dowdy, and if you're here, come on down. Mariah Lewis, Kennedy Coates, Daniel Moody, Butler Frank, Chase Sorrow, and Lucas Graham. And for Service Snapshot, Caitlin Southworth, Emma Mahoney, Lily Mahoney, Adriana DePaulo, Caitlin Crutchfield, and Monique Grimsley. Congratulations to all of our competitors.
We're going to try to do one large photo, so this whole is going to go up the aisle. So just if you'll hold tight for us, we'll just be able to ensure that everyone's in the photo. Thank you.
Next on our recognition, we'll have recognition of music in our schools month with Ms. Lindsay.
And I'm
I'm going to ask that the board come down and sit in these chairs, please. Good evening, Chairman Spalding, Vice Chair Dr. Rollins-Fells, members of the board, and Dr. Kaverick. March is Music in Our Schools Month and Youth Art Month. Music in Our Schools Month's theme is All Music, All People. It aims to draw attention and raise awareness of the importance of music education for all children. Youth Art Month is a celebration of the visual arts. This year's theme is Your Art, Your Story. Art and music teachers provide opportunities for our students to increase their skills in literacy, problem solving, creativity, critical thinking, and communication. We appreciate the dedication of our art and music teachers to provide a rich learning environment for our students. They are instrumental in making a difference in our students' lives. We recognize the following art and music teachers for their service and contribution to Caroline County Public Schools during Music in Our Schools and Youth Art Month. I'd like to call our art and music teachers. If you're here, please stand. Miss Kathy Bolts, Miss Joan Dudley, Miss Bethany Hale, Miss Jennifer Harrelson, Miss Patricia Jackson, Miss Stephanie Rowe, and Miss Jessica Tran. Our music teachers, Miss Andrea Brock, Mr. Kevin Coleman, Mr. David Fielding, Miss Betty French, Mr. Cody Payne, Miss Jacqueline Pacarello, Mr. Nicholas Raymer Stevens. And to recognize Music in Our Schools, my BGE, Lewis and Clark, and Madison students will perform this evening. Mr. Cody Payne and his chorus will start us off.
Don't turn back, not like we're here.
Let's give them another round of applause. They're fantastic. And now Ms. Betty French from Lewis and Clark Elementary and her chorus.
I have members of my district chorus here this evening. These students participated in a wonderful concert at Spotsylvania High School on February 23rd. They learned 6 anthems and they participated alongside Spotsylvania, Stafford, King George, City of Fredericksburg, and Caroline. And they would like to present their numbers this evening. It is entitled May a Rainbow Run Beside You. It is an Irish blessing. And I'm going to have one of my students, Anaya Coleman, to read the lyrics for them.
May love and laughter light your days and warm your heart and home. May good and faithful friends be yours wherever you may roam. May a rainbow run beside you in a sky that's always blue. And may happiness fill your heart each day and bless you your whole life through. May peace and plenty bless your world with joy that long endures. May a rainbow run beside you, the best to you and yours. May a rainbow run beside you in a sky that's always blue. And may happiness fill you your heart each day and bless you your whole life through. And may happiness fill your heart each day and bless your whole life through.
Thank you, Ms. French and chorus. Let's give them another round of applause. They were fantastic. And now we have Mrs. Brock, Ms. Andrea Brock. And her second graders. Thank you, Mrs. Brock, and our second grade students. Let's give them a round of applause. They were fantastic. Thank you. And as you go past the board, then we're going to have the board come back up for for the chairman to come up, Mrs. Spalding, to finish the agenda. Thank you.
Thank you, music teachers and students, for those renditions. We'll move along now. Move along now to the consent agenda. Do I hear a move? So moved. All in favor? Aye. We'll move right along to the action items. The first item that we have is the approval of the school board meeting minutes, February the 11th, 2019.
Chairman, I vote to make a motion to approve minutes for February 11th.
Mr. Chair, I still have a point of order. We're under action items.
We are under action items. Sorry, having a few technical problems up here. Approval of the VSBA policy JFG, search and seizure, Dr. Monroe.
Chairman Spalding, Vice Chair Dr. Rollins-Fells, members of the board, and Dr. Calveric. An overview of proposed additions to policy JFK, search and seizure, has been updated to include additional guidelines for using canines / police dogs to inspect students. The policy was submitted to board docs for your review. During the first read in February, the board had several questions. Today, I did send an email to the board, and I will attempt to answer any questions and or additional questions you may have. However, at this time, I would like Officer Crowder to come up, and that would be Captain Crowder to come up to join me at the podium, as the board may have questions at this time, as well as Sheriff Lippa and Major Bowser. Mosier, sorry. So at this time, do the board have any further questions? And if not, I would like to ask Captain Crowder and his K-9 to come up and share a few things with us to provide an extra insight on the procedures of having a K-9 dog in the schools.
Ladies and gentlemen, how are y'all doing this evening? Well, do you guys have any questions for us that we may address in reference to using a K-9 for searching at all for the schools?
I have one.
Yes, ma'am.
When the dogs are trained and they're running, and if they do pick up a scent, do they bite, or how do you propose to control them if they don't attack, if they're going for that drug, attack that student or that child?
The training for people is different than per se packages. The training for people is basically a passive dog. The dog will alert, it'll show a difference in response, and will actually sit or actually go straight to the student and look up and sit down.
But it won't touch.
It may touch, but it's not going to be an aggressive touch. It's not a biting dog. The dog is not trained to bite. And the dogs that they use are not per se aggressive looking dogs. So you'll see our dog that we have. We'll do a little demo for you and bring him in and show you the dog is not, he is a happy, playful dog. He is not an aggressive dog.
Okay, do the ones that could be a little aggressive?
They will not, no ma'am, they will not be searching students.
Not students,
Period,
okay.
no ma'am.
Okay. And what about if the students are allergic to them and don't want them around? Some children may be afraid of dogs and not just allergic to. What do you propose to do when the child is afraid of them?
That's going to fall on the school to take care of that issue. If there's a student that is allergic or a student that is scared of dogs, then those students, if the school wishes to, can remove them from the search and can take care of those students on a separate basis.
First and foremost, because we have passive dogs, that's what this one is, and we brought this dog for your demonstration. And I have no problems if we all want to line up when we go by, and you'll see how this dog reacts. We're going to plan it on JD. The dog can't hear me say that, but JD is going to be in the back, and he's going to be here, and you will see how the dog reacts to that. And I know that more questions and answers that you might have, and again, this is going to be your decision. Mike, you want to go ahead and get walking? Give that to JD. Now, how much room do you have behind? Because again, we can, y'all want to participate? No? Well, you do, come on up here. You want to stay down below? Yeah. Come on. You're going to be the favorite.
Are there any more questions from the board on this action item?
I do.
Yes.
Thank you for the, let me start with my comment. Thank you for the demonstration, because I think it's important if you're passing policy, some things you need to experience. And for me, that was unnerving, just to be honest. There was and I have a dog, but she's little. So the anxiety that I felt as an adult, I have to be honest about that in this moment. So that's my comment. But I don't think I would have had that insight had you not come. So thank you and kudos to the team. So the question that I have is, I know that we have an MOU in place with our resource officers and that sort of thing. And I was the one at the last meeting that asked some really tough questions about what are the procedures that support this policy. So in the event, let's say JD was the one that had it just now, the dog did the signal. My question was, what happens next? And I think that's something that we have to clearly define if we move forward with this. And we need to make sure there are no gray areas. We need to make sure that the procedure is clearly spelled out, that the staff is trained, and my expectation for accountability would be very high, that we're implementing it with integrity. So does that require our MOU to be adjusted to address what happens next? Because drugs are drugs.
Sure. And in essence, the whole situation that you have here, we came for you all. It's going to be for the schools. It's up to the schools. We're just letting you know we have another tool. And with that being said, yes, is it going to have to be addressed in the MOU? Absolutely. We're like you are. We want to make sure that everyone knows what they're supposed to do, what happens when. But again, your approval comes first, because we sure don't like and want to put a dog up that's going to bite somebody, because then liability comes towards us. So whatever the school board wants, we're here to work for you.
Right, thank you, Sheriff. Look, and I want to be clear, let me be clear, because sometimes things are taken out of context. If there's one child that's bringing drugs to school, that's one too many. I have a zero tolerance mentality when it comes to that, and I think we need to keep our schools safe, and they need to remain drug-free. I understand that we're living in a day and age where some social behaviors may have some tolerance in other settings that we absolutely do not allow. So I am not closed-minded to the idea, but I do think as an institution, we have to be careful that our school setting does not become the war on drug zone. And I know that that's not true, because I know and I have a great respect for our officers and how you all behave. I do think there's a level of heightened awareness that we need to send the message to our community. What you do at home is at home, but if you bring it here, this is how we're going to address it. But I want to be very clear again that we have to make sure the supporting procedures are in place. That leads me to revisit a question that I asked last time, or I think Tika asked. If a child comes to school and they have been in an environment where people are using the substances, they're not using, but that odor is on their clothes, in their book bag, whatever, will the dog still detect it? And then how is that handled? And I understand that the dogs are trained, and I don't have any questions about that. But in those circumstances, because I think that's a real situation.
All right, we do not have one that's developed for us on our standpoint, because we've never used a passive dog. I know there are other school districts, and I'm sure Dr. Monroe will be able to fill you in with those answers. Could the dog still hit on that? Yes, it's an alert. It's like anything else that then leads to the next step.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
In all the years that we've used those dogs, Sheriff, we haven't had any problems yet with them, have we? No. Not that I know of.
Because we haven't ran a lot of students before.
I was going to say, that's a question I have. How is this different than our current practice? Because I think that's a good point.
Well, what I could share is our current practice is when the dogs do come to the building, the students are actually escorted outside of the classroom, and they stand in a queue in the hallway, away from the classroom. The dog would go in and would do a walk around, whatever the appropriate term is. And then at that point, if the dog does not hit on anything, then the dog exits, and we go to the next location, and the students go back into the classroom. And that is our current practice at this time. And they also do cars and lockers as well, and book bags.
See, the students are aware of that. That's why they carry it on their person. That's what they're doing now. They know when the dogs come in, they're not going to leave it at their lockers, they're not going to leave it in the car, and they're not going to leave it in their book bag. When they know that the dogs are here, then they start grabbing it and start hiding it on them. That's what we're finding our kids doing. Or I should say, that's what we're finding that the kids are doing, as opposed to ours.
Okay, but Dr. Monroe, what do we have in place that when these dogs are alerted to a student that just has an odor, what are we doing? Are they going to be allowed, are they going to question them and the student may not want to say
Well,
who they came in contact with? Or, I mean, what's going to be the policy there? Because to me, we still have some unanswered questions.
well, the question is, if the dog does hit on a student, it is reasonable cause for us to conduct a search. Now, I will tell you that a search, in most cases, does not have to involve an SRO. We do searches now when we contact parents, and the principal and or assistant principal or two school persons or whomever will conduct a search. We always attempt to call the parent. Sometimes we can't get through to the parent, but we always follow up with a parent at that point. Our standard questions would be asked. Students have the right not to say anything at all, but at that point, we do have a procedure for that. So we would just follow the current procedures that we have in place. And it would stop after the questioning and the contact with the parents at that point.
Yeah, but, I mean, are the students going to be informed? How many students really know that they don't have to answer questions without their parent?
These students are really savvy these days.
I don't know, but I mean,
Well, I can't answer that either, but I do know that students know a lot more than maybe we give them credit for, and maybe that's not the best answer, but what I do know is that students are questioned whenever any incidents, whether it's drugs are related or not. It could be a fight, it could be a potential fight, it could be cheating on a test, it could be anything. I mean, we still have to carry out what we need to carry out to ensure the integrity of the learning environment. And that's really all that this is. We treat our kids under that theme of we connect and correct instead of catch and punishing. And that has been our theme throughout, whether it's drugs, whether it's cheating, whether it's discipline, whether it's a disruption. Because as you all saw today in the presentation, we're all about building the social and emotional wellness of all of our students. And what we're trying to do and all that we want is to make sure that we maintain a safe and drug-free school environment. And we will do that the best we can.
I prefer that, but I also prefer for it to be 100% across the board, the same for every child, not just some, but all. I've been in the county and in the school system for a long time, and I know how some things can work. Some up, some down, it's not going to work in certain areas, this and that. So that seems to be my problem.
Right, well,
Drugs, you know, I don't know what these kids doing, what, how, or whatever. But when I drove the bus, I knew a lot of that.
yes, ma'am.
Going on in the school, they'd say, oh, the dogs are going to be running. They knew it, and I didn't know.
Right. Well, the one thing I can say by closing is that we have a very collaborative approach. I know whenever any principal sitting in this room has an issue or a question or just wants to make sure, they reach out to us. I know they call central office all the time, and we sit down and we work collaboratively with families to, again, try to do what's best, not only for the child, but for the entire family.
So are we saying we have a problem in our high school, middle school, or we going to run them, we're not running them, I would assume, the elementary?
No, ma'am. Right now, currently, we only do our searches in the middle school and in the high school.
Okay, just the two schools.
Yes, ma'am.
And how is a parent or a child's
maybe I'm getting old, my age may be showing, but
That's okay.
that was not calm. How's a parent supposed to say, don't bring that dog around my child, I don't, that my child's afraid of dogs?
Well,
I still have that problem, I know the parents, you don't have to go anymore. That's,
So what's your pleasure, board?
I move for approval of VSBA policy JFG, search and seizure.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and second. Call for the vote. All right, moving right along, we have Dr. Monroe again, approval of policy JJAC, student athlete concussions during extracurricular activities.
thank you. Chairman Spalding, Dr. Rollins-Fells, members of the board, and Dr. Calvaric. An overview of proposed additions to policy JJAC, student athlete concussions during extracurricular activities, has been updated to include additional guidelines for return to play protocol. We have a team consisting of 5 members who have been trained in support services for students with concussions and traumatic brain injuries. Conditions have been outlined for return to participate in an athletic event or training to include the following. The student attends all classes. Student no longer exhibits signs. The student is asymptomatic during and following periods of supervised exercise that is gradual, intensifying, and the student receives a written medical release from an appropriate licensed healthcare provider. Revisions were necessary, however, upon discovering that Caroline County Public Schools did not have a return to learn protocol for non-student athletes. The updated policy includes return to learn phases necessary for proper healing outlined in regulation JJAC-R, which is in board docs for your review. The Caroline County Public School team appreciates the board's revisions, additions, and supporting documents that are added to board docs with hopes that the revised policy in its entirety will be approved this evening upon second reading.
Dr. Monroe, I have a couple questions.
Yes.
Number one, and maybe I wasn't listening or I didn't read it. If we have a concussion in football practice on Monday, the athlete stays out Friday night and can come back the following Monday? Is that
Well, it depends on all of the protocols that are actually laid out in
I
board
mean,
docs.
if the doctor says it's okay, he can come back the following week?
Yes, once an athlete has doctor clearance that's saying he or she is free and clear, yes, sir.
How does that affect our trainers? What if they say that they can come back?
The trainers do not have that authority. They have to, the students
Well, I've
have to.
seen some trainers that were more adapted to concussions than some doctors were.
Well, I'm just sharing that currently, under our policy, we have to follow the concussion protocol, and the student needs to be seen by a licensed physician. And before that student can return to play, they have to be cleared by their doctor.
All right, how about basketball, Tuesday, Friday? I could get a concussion on Tuesday. It would be possible for me to play on Friday if my doc said it was okay?
If we have,
With only 2 days rest in there?
if we have medical clearance from that doctor stating that the student athlete is free to play, then that student can actually play. Now, there are tiers, which are in the packet, depending on what a doctor says, that will define how we readmit both that student athlete to expectations in the classroom as well as expectations on the field or in the court of play. But again, based on what the doctor shares with us, will determine what kind of what we call concussion plan that student will be on, and that team of folks at the school will actually oversee that plan.
That even includes practice?
Yes, sir.
So these coaches and trainers both are going to have to be real cognizant of what the situation is, right?
They're going to have to not only be cognizant, but they're going to have documentation as well.
That's what I'm saying. It's I know how things go, that's why I'm asking these questions.
Yes, sir. We take this very seriously, and that's why we have a very comprehensive policy now that actually spells out 6 phases, so that not only are we looking at return to play, but also return to learn, where we include everyone that touches that child.
Okay. Any other questions?
I have a question, just to clarify. Item 2.2, it says that the student no longer exhibits signs, symptoms, or behaviors. So I interpret that to read that if the doctor clears and the child is exhibiting some sign that the trainer or the coach is not comfortable with, that they would document and then the issue would be revisited.
It will be revisited, and it would be immediately sent to the school nurse who is part of the team, and we will circle back and probably ask for another evaluation.
Any other questions? If not, call for the vote.
Mr. Chairman, I move for approval of policy JJAC student athlete concussion.
Second. It's moved and second. Call for the vote. Thank you, Dr. Monroe.
Thank you.
Next, we have the approval of new courses, 1920. Dr. Jones.
Good evening, Chair Spalding, Vice Chair Dr. Rollins-Fales, board members, and Dr. Calvary. Tonight, I am requesting approval for 2 courses for the 1920 school year, Graphics 2 at Caroline High School, and Inventions and Innovations at Caroline Middle School.
I move that we approve these 2 new courses for the one for the high school and the one for the middle school.
Second. It's been moved and second. Any questions? If not, call for the vote. Thank you, Dr. Jones. We move now to citizens' comments.
Chairman Spalding, we do have Tom Connolly that has asked to have a citizen's comment,
I'm sorry.
but he may have left. Oh. And then I have Mr. Calvin Taylor. Just a reminder, Mr. Taylor, that you have 3 minutes to speak, and he is speaking on the mentoring program.
Good afternoon, Superintendent and the board members. It's always good to have an opportunity to come and speak to the board. And tonight I'm speaking in someone else's place, but I'm representing the Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. The fraternity was founded back in 1911 at Howard University. And we have chapters located in various colleges and universities throughout the country. When an individual finishes college, they affiliate themselves with a graduate chapter. And we have graduate chapters that are located throughout various cities and areas. We probably have over 100,000 members. One of the things that we do to try and improve the quality of life of the community is to work with young people. We have a program called Passport to Manhood. That program is aimed at male students, probably between the ages of maybe 12 and 16. And what we do is we meet with them and we work with them. They are assigned to different members of our organization. Now, each one of our members go through a training period, and they are certified to work with these young people. The background checks and so forth have been done, so it's not a situation where you have people working with children and you may not know who they are or they may have issues. But to put it briefly, we have about 8 workshop-type programs where we work with the children. We may do a session on respect. We may do a session on how to treat a lady. We may do sections that deal with business and owning your own business. And they're just various things that we do. When we finish the program, we sort of have like a culminating activity. As I said, I belong to the Tar Road chapter, which is located in the city of Fredericksburg, but we have a regional program, and a part of our region includes Spotsylvania, Stafford, Caroline, King George, and the city of Fredericksburg. We have been doing this program probably 10 years. As a matter of fact, we give scholarships, and one of our scholarship applicants for this year was a part of this program, and that young man was probably about 13 years old. So I only have 3 minutes. I've probably gone over that, but I just want you to know what it's about. Mr. Rock has talked with the principal at the middle school, and so she's been aware, and we have given out some flyers. I don't have something to give you tonight, and I apologize for that because I didn't realize that I was going to be the one doing this. So, but at any rate, that's a brief overview of what we do. And I guess in closing, I would say, yeah, I'm from Caroline, and I'm always trying to do what I can do to enhance Caroline County students. And we've been doing this, but we've been working mostly with the children out of the Fredericksburg area and Spotsylvania. And a part of that has to do with the distance that people have to travel. So if we can come into Caroline and work through the middle school to try and do what we can do to assist some of our students, that's what our goal is. So having said that, you may have questions. I'll be glad to try and answer them. Mr. Spoiler don't like me, so he probably has it. I'm sorry. I'm not going to do that.
Don't say that. People may believe you. I was getting ready to say something really bad about you, and you never busted me here already. How about sitting down, okay?
I will do that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor.
Chairman Spalding, we have Tony Sheriff Lippa to come to the podium. Just a reminder, you have 3 minutes to speak. He is speaking in regards of the use of cell phone.
I do not need 3 minutes, but I do want to thank the board, and I thank you all again for all that you do for Caroline Schools. Because I didn't grow up with social media that seems to be all out there. What happened on Friday comes from somebody's use of a cell phone. So I don't know the school board's policy on cell phones. I'm only throwing out some suggestions because we don't allow cell phones in the courts simply because they're distractors. And whether they need to be in the schools or whether they have to be in the schools, I leave that in y'all's hands because, again, I don't know the policy, and I apologize. So if kids have to have cell phones, it seems like maybe they can keep them in the locker. If it's an emergency, maybe the parents can call the schools, and then let's go ahead and see if we can do something there. Those are just suggestions. Y'all probably thought about it. I just didn't like what transpired, and then God bless the media in one way, but when they quote you and you don't even talk to them, it makes you wonder. So with everything that goes on, Caroline is great. Our schools are great. Our teachers are. I understand that. You can't tell me there wasn't fights in the rest of this country at high schools. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Sheriff. Any other citizen comments?
There are no additional comments.
No others? If not, we'll move on to new business. First, we have the first reading of new courses 2019-20. Dr. Jones.
Good evening, Chair Spalding, Vice Chair Dr. Rollins-Fales, board members, and Dr. Calvary. Tonight, I present as a first reading new proposed courses for the 2019-2020 school year: Environmental Science at Caroline High School and at Caroline Middle School in grade 8. This also includes the listing of AP Environmental, which will not be offered during the 2020 school year, but will be listed in the program of studies and offered during 2020-21. Also, Introduction to Power Structural Systems, which is also an agriculture course at Caroline High School. This is a first read. Are there any questions?
I have one. Would this replace the earth science class?
As a 9th grade course, it will be the 9th grade science course, but earth science will still be offered as an elective course.
Thank you.
I have a question, and I don't know where else to put it, but right here. This past year with the issue that we had with 30-some students not being able to get Spanish that signed up for Spanish 1, what is the assurance that they will definitely be able to get Spanish next year, starting as 9th graders at the high school? Is that a given? That they're going to have enough teachers to accommodate these students next year?
I would like to gather a little bit more information and get back to you on that. We would definitely do all we can to offer Spanish to all 9th graders at Caroline High School. But at this time, I am not able to say for sure the number of students that would be able to take it. But because we're on the 4x4 with 2 semesters, all students should be able to take Spanish during the 9th grade year.
Well, I was especially the ones that signed up for it this year that were in 8th grade that we had the issue. I think they should have priority before the others that, since they did sign up and thought they were getting it, and then they did not receive it.
I don't foresee it as a problem for the students in 9th grade being able to take Spanish.
All right, thank you. I appreciate that.
Ms. Carson, that's something that we'll investigate and get back with the board with further information. Additionally, before Dr. Jones takes a seat, I do think it's important to reference the environmental science course at 8th grade. This will become the first opportunity that Caroline County Public Schools has had to offer an advanced pathway in the area of science for a middle school student. Not every student excels in math, not every student excels in English. Sometimes they're gifted in science, and we now have an opportunity for them to do an advanced path in 8th grade, which will set them up to take biology in 9th grade. So this is something truly to celebrate in relation to advanced pathways for science.
Thank you, Dr. Jones. Next, we have the Special Education Annual Plan. Ms. Glass.
Good evening, Chairman Spalding, Vice Chair Dr. Rollins Fells, members of the board, Dr. Calveric. This evening, I'm providing you with an outline of the IDEA annual plan for funds for sections 611 and 619. These grant funds will be utilized to support the special education program in Caroline County Schools. We have a preliminary allocation of $922,331 for section 611 flow-through funds. These are for students who are grades K through 12 in special education, and we plan to fund 12 special education teachers, salaries and benefits, and 1 full-time behavior support coordinator, and we will use proportionate set-aside funds for speech services for parentally placed students. The section 619 funds have a preliminary allocation of $18,292. This is for students who are aged 2 to 5 years old, and we plan to use these grant funds for salaries for our early childhood special education staff. Are there any questions that I can answer for you this evening?
I have 2 questions. One in the area of, LEA, local and regional jails under that specific area.
Yes, ma'am.
Where the question says, is there a local or regional jail located within the geographic boundaries of your school division? And you click no, and it says no.
Right, the jail no longer houses prisoners, so we don't provide services to the jail.
Okay. And then in the other one, MOE eligibility. When I clicked on that under the local and the local plus state, it is so blurred, it's like there was something printed and then it was an imprint over top of that, so you can't really read what it says. It's double blurred, so I couldn't read the dollar amount.
Well, there shouldn't be a dollar amount in there. So that is a proposal for what our maintenance of effort will be next year. And the finance department is still working on that proposal because we're still working on our budget allocations. This application is not due until May, so we will input that data closer to the May deadline when we have a proposal for what we think our maintenance of effort will be next year.
Okay, thank you. I just was looking at it, I'm like, I don't understand what that is. Okay, thank you very much. Those are my questions.
Any other questions? Thank you, Ms. Glass.
Thank you.
Next, we have informational items, monthly update on APM, Ms. Stevens.
Good evening, Chairman Spalding, Vice Chair Rollins, fellows, members of the board, and Dr. Calveric. I want to make one note on the maintenance of effort. We did meet our maintenance of effort. We just reported it in for special ed 2 weeks ago, and it was all met for the 17-18 year. Okay. For the ADM, we are showing good numbers for February. Our final ADM gets reported on March 31st for our funding, so it's great to see that our February has increased to 4075, so an average of 4043 over the entire year. I'm still showing approximately 45 ADMs short for this budget based on a 4150. If we can get another great month, maybe it'll take it up a little bit further, and we won't have as much of a shortage at the end. I also have the withdrawal codes for you. No real differences in that as of February 28th at the bottom, as we continue to track that each month. Are there any questions on the ADM report?
What's the number per pupil that we expend?
That we actually expend?
Or what's the figure?
I have to look at it on the website. I don't have it on the top of my head. I'll print it off and get it for you.
That's okay. I know.
But state dollars is about between $5,000 and $6,000 for state.
All right, monthly update, revenues and expenditures.
Good evening again, Chair Spalding, Vice Chair Dr. Rollins Fells, member of the board, and Dr. Calveric. The February report for the revenues for operations is 26.3 million. Year to date is 61.6%. For all funds, it's 28.2 million at 59.0%. Our expenditures for operations are 25.7 million at 60%. So our revenues are outweighing our expenses at this time, which is a good trend. And also our expenditures for year to date is 28.4 million or 59.4%. Keep in mind the textbook fund, we had expended the majority of that this year at 90%. We will be using fund balance to carry us for that, so we won't be recognizing all the revenues in this year, but we will carry fund balance to cover us. And we have reconciled with the county as of December reports. They are the latest that we have received at this time, and we'll continue to reconcile as we receive them. Any questions on the financial report?
Thank you, Ms. Stevens.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, I assume I should have probably brought this up under action items, but I would like to bring up the point that we vote on letting our 12-month employees have the spring break holiday and the Christmas holidays off as we do our other employees. I think it has to be brought up and voted again at this particular time. Am I correct?
Is that a motion?
I'm asking it, may I bring that up at this time? I should have brought it up during action items, I'm sorry, but I neglected to remember that. I think it has to be brought up each year. So I would like to make a motion that our 12-month employees receive the same holiday that our regular 10-month employees receive. And Mr. Honan, if you can work that out with your people so you can get things done. I'm sorry to put that on you, but.
Is there a second to that? Any questions?
Mr. Chair, shouldn't we address that during the school calendar?
No, not really, not during the calendar. Because days are off. She's talking about personnel. Any other questions? If not, call for the vote.
Dr. Rollins Fells. Mrs. Harris. Mr. Copeland.
Aye.
Mr. Kelly.
Aye.
Mrs. Carson.
Aye.
Mr. Spalding.
Aye. Motion passes. Next, we have Board comments. We'll start down here to my right, Ms. Harris.
I'll have a short comment tonight. Don't forget, well, all the parents that I want to know this are gone now. I know the staff knows about the family fair held here Saturday. It's great impact. Ms. Rollins in the back has a flyer if you'd like to see. There's a sign posted at the front door by the balloons. If you'd like to see that also, just to jot down information. But come out, it's a great time.
John. Dr. Phelps, next.
Would you guys like to go first? I'll go ahead. I had a couple of things I wanted to mention. Last Friday was Read Across America Day, and it looked like it was a successful day. What I saw, we had football players at Lewis and Clark reading to students, and other high school students, and fifth graders reading to first graders, and it just was a wonderful affair, and all the kids were so excited about the day, and it just is a fun day to be in the schools. I also want to say congratulations to the high school and the elementary and the middle school beta societies for their outstanding accomplishments and awards. I think the schools might need to revisit the school policy about cell phone usage. We can talk about this later, but I feel like with the Chromebook initiative, there is little reason for the students to have their phones out except for specified reasons. So that's all I have to say this time. Thank you.
And mine's quick for our first time. First of all, shout out to CMS 6th grade orientation. That was absolutely wonderful to come. And it was a great opportunity. It was just such a great welcoming environment for everybody that came in. So that was a lot of fun for me and my family and every other kid that I know that was here as well. Secondly, my favorite part, best thing I like about being on the school board is awards and recognition when the kids get to come up here. And we had a lot of kids here tonight, and I really like that because that's why we're here. And that was a lot of fun. The singing was great. I just hope everybody was able to notice the difference between second graders and the fifth graders and the social awkwardness that has not yet overtaken the second graders. And that is just absolutely entertaining for me. That is all. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Chair, I have several comments tonight during our board moment. The first is that I wanted to just let the community know that I personally attended that Divas That Code course, and Becky Button is absolutely amazing to see a high school student who has developed her passion for years, and to be in a room where she's giving it back and teaching students. The catch to that and why I thought it's noteworthy is that on my job I had an incident where we're programming software, and there was a glitch, and what Becky had just taught in class was the solution to the problem on my job. And it was a conditional statement of an and versus or. And so I made sure to tell her that just with me sitting in there, what I had learned. I also wanted to note that there's a mentoring program that was expanded to Lewis and Clark. And so I just wanted to acknowledge the principal there. Caroline's Promise is not only at the middle and high school, but also working with elementary students in conjunction with Bowling Green Elementary as well. And I understand that there may be some other programs in the work to fill the gap at Madison. So I wanted to thank the community members, our recent graduates, and the volunteers with Men of Valor who are supporting those mentoring programs. I also attended the meeting with the Don Progressive Association. That's another school, it used to be a school here in my district of the county down in Reedy Church. And they're going to be doing some fundraising efforts that you'll see some information about in the community. And I just ask that you would come out and support. They're trying to make some renovations so that there can be, in essence, a community center on the southern portion of the county. And so I'll be helping out with those efforts as well. I wanted to say thank you and welcome to Dr. Allen. I think this is our first meeting, and I wanted to acknowledge your joining the team. And in the awards and recognition, we did not recognize Patty Klein, who is our beta advisor at the high school, and I apologize because I missed that. She won state advisor for beta, and so she will be serving in that capacity as well. And I noticed that we recognized our students, but I did want to make sure she had a moment. So those are all of my positives. What I want to talk about in the next few moments is our process, our roles, and our expectations. And in light of the recent events, I did not want this moment to pass and I not say something. I do want to give the disclaimer that these comments are representative of my thoughts, and the voice of the board is that of Chairman Spalding and that of our superintendent, who will give some directives on behalf of the division. From my perspective, what I want the community to know is that we are an educational institution. We have pedagogy, and this is a profession. We require our staff to be certified and qualified in best practices in order to meet the needs of our students. The role of the school board is to review policy and to make policy decisions that provide the structure, and we empower our senior staff who serve as our subject matter experts to support that qualified and certified staff that I just spoke of. We have about 650 employees that are supporting over 4,000 students. And why do I bring this up? Because if you look at the math, we flat out cannot do this by ourselves. I am soliciting a call to action to all community members to become more involved and more engaged as a parent in our school system. There are PTAs at each school. The membership fees are very nominal, and something can be worked out if finances are an issue. We need your voice at the table. When there are reading days, when there are donuts with dads, when there are muffins with moms, all parents, regardless of your background, your race, your ethnicity, where you live, what your last name is, and where you come from, you are welcome here. If you need language interpretation, we have those services, so please do not feel like you cannot overcome those barriers. And the first opportunity for my call of action is on March 16th to attend the family fair. Now, why do I bring this up? Because we are in a new season, a refreshed season of accountability from my perspective, and increased communication. I know that Facebook and social media is a powerful tool, and it can be used in a variety of ways. But I do want to encourage our community members that there is a ccps.us website, that the school system does have a Facebook page, and if you do not know who to talk to, you can always start with your school teacher or principal. If you contact one of the board members, we do have a process of communication and informing you who you need to speak to so that your issue can be resolved. I have fielded many phone calls and encounters over the weekend, and what I've encouraged folks is to not just be the consumer of gossip and the holder of a story, that you need to take the next step to start solving the problem. Solve the problem. If you are representing the county in any capacity, and again, these are my thoughts, we have a responsibility to recognize the population that we serve and the communication challenges that we may have due to the lack of resources. So we need to be creative about making sure the word gets out. And my final statement with my call to action is to make sure that you have your students in school. Your presence matters. Your attendance affects a lot of different things. And then finally, in terms of the new policy that we've adopted tonight with the search and seizure position, I would like to say that I operate with the support of the board. Whatever this board approves, that's what I'm going to support. But my voice is always going to be present to say procedure needs to be clear and we have to communicate, because when it's not, we find ourselves in a mess. And then to everyone that's in this room and anybody that may watch this later, there were several students who were recognized this evening. Out of our 4,000 students, the majority of them are doing very well, and those who need some support, we are offering that support. But parents, we need your engagement as well. Those are my board comments. I thank you for your patience.
Now I have a few comments. Dr. Phillips has hit on quite a few up here at the end. We're kind of preaching to the choir right now. What she said and what I'm getting ready to say should have been said 2 hours ago. And when we had the auditorium filled with parents and so forth and all. The incident that happened at the high school this past Friday, I lamented the whole weekend. Because when you hurt somebody in our school system, you hurt me. That's the way I feel about it. I take it personally. Ask my wife if you think I'm lying. And we have got to come up with some new ideas. I know we heard some things, society, education, and blah, 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 et cetera, and so forth. But there's still some things that we can come up that I've got right here that we can do to improve on our security, et cetera, and so forth and so on. And, you know, we always get the blunt, doesn't make a difference whose fault it is. We are the blunt of everything. This is happening not just in Caroline County, and I'm not making excuses now. It happens in every one of the schools. Spotsylvania, Fredericksburg. I have a lot of informants, and they come and they tell me things. Well, we didn't get ours in the paper, and we had 3 fights and so forth. But we do. We're very popular with the TV show. And just like Dr. Fells was saying here, we need these parents to back us up here. Starting with those little kids who are up here singing tonight. If we can train them to come up through the ranks and so forth and all, we won't have all these problems that we've got right now. But like I said, we're preaching to the choir. You guys know that. But that's just the way I feel. And I appreciate all the staff and so forth that's worked on these things. Superintendent's comments.
Thank you, Chair Spalding. I appreciate everyone indulging me this evening as I do have a number of comments. The first is I would just like to share that this evening's recognitions warmed my heart and really reflected the multi-talented student population that we are so blessed to work with on a daily basis. I also would like to extend our gratitude to the Caroline County Sheriff's Office for their continued dedication to school safety and collaboration with Caroline County Public Schools. I'd like to thank the school board for their continued support of the 12-month holiday benefit. This is a benefit that it has tremendous meaning to those that work a year-round calendar. I also would like to share that while Caroline County Public Schools originally advertised the county administrator's budget presentation as occurring tomorrow evening, there has been a date adjustment. There will not be a budget presentation at the Board of Supervisors meeting tomorrow. Once we have some new dates available to us in relation to the presentation, we will be certain to notify our constituents and our staff members. So should you feel inclined to attend either the budget presentation or the public hearing, you are well informed of dates and times. I would like to extend a thank you to Dr. Jones and her instructional leadership team, as well as our numerous teacher and administrative presenters who provided a tremendous day of professional learning today for our K-12 staff. If you have not had an opportunity to take a look at the Caroline County Public School Facebook page, I encourage you to do so, as you will get an insight that possibly has not been unveiled to you regarding what occurs in the day of a life of a teacher on a professional learning day. And finally, I would like to share a message that went out to our K-12 community at approximately 6:30 this evening. Good evening, Caroline families. This is Sarah Calverick, Superintendent of Schools. Over the past month, the nation, inclusive of Caroline County Public Schools, has engaged in candid dialogue regarding societal matters which affect our school-aged children every day. Recent media coverage has shone light on the daily challenges our students face, including the recent Kid YouTube Momo Challenge, the dangers and impact of irresponsible technology and social media usage, and most recently, the use of physical violence at Caroline High School to resolve peer conflict. Our students' safety is of the utmost importance to Caroline County Public School faculty and staff. While we are so proud of the numerous safety measures and partnerships that are currently embraced within our buildings and classrooms, our collective growth mindset causes us to pause and reflect on opportunities for continued improvement. In the coming days and weeks, each Caroline school will revisit existing safety measures and identify any necessary refinements or enhancements.
The Instructional Technology Department will provide families with an overview of the 6th through 12th one-to-one Chromebook initiative and accompanying tips to support parental oversight of technology devices within the home environment. The school division will continue to develop social-emotional learning supports, as well as partner with the Caroline County Sheriff's Office, the Student Health Advisory Board, and the Safe and Drug-Free Schools Committee to ensure preventive measures and response mechanisms are highly operational. The final and most critical step to this internal and external safety audit, if you will, is the collaborative partnerships between the schools and students, families, and community stakeholders. While CCPS is bolstered and motivated by the goodness we see each and every day in our pre-K-12 students, we know there remains much work to do to ensure every Cavalier graduate is equipped with the skills needed for a Caroline 3E, enrollment, enlistment, and/or employment. I ask you to consider how you can be part of this movement, this #OneCaroline. Join a new committee, volunteer in the schools, report peer concerns anonymously to Silent Hurts on each school's website, monitor your child's social media, reach out to a counselor or administrator with questions, and finally, let's change the CCPS narrative together. If we do not tell our own story, someone else will, and there is so much to be proud of in Caroline. Thank you for your time, and we look forward to welcoming our students back to school tomorrow. Thank you, Chairman Spalding.
Thank you. We'll now move into our closed session to approve the discipline appeal, discipline expulsion, superintendent's personnel agenda, and approval of return to school board public meeting. Do I hear a motion? So moved. Been moved in second. Call for the vote. We'll now move to closed session.